I will wait.
Okay, Jeremy. So we are just going to start. I'm going to check if we have participants now. Let's maybe we can wait for 1 more minute.
No worries, no worries.
Okay.
I will be here.
So
I
just
just the screen looks because I can't see the share screen, so you can see
uh,
everything on the
yes,
slide. It's big,
I see everything.
and then I'm just gonna scroll down like this as I go through the presentation.
Yeah. There is a little delay, but that's normal because we are moving from teams and blah blah blah. But yes, everything is working properly.
Perfect.
We're still waiting
Okay.
for more participants to get in. So let's take 1 more minute and we start. Okay.
No worries. I'll be here.
Okay. Uh, Simon, no, yo estoy aquí, pero solamente hay una persona conectada. Yo comenzamos así. Okay. Okay, Jeremy. So we are going to start right now. So far we have like 2 people, but it's normal because people are getting access into the platform. What we are going to do is I'm going to give you general introduction and we start, okay? Because the session will be recorded,
Perfect.
okay? So good morning everyone and welcome to this session of National ELT Medellin 2025. We are delighted to have you here as we continue sharing ideas and experiences that enrich our teaching practice. Our presenter is Jeremy Tarbarton. He's an accomplished educator and global citizen with extensive experience in both US and Latin American contests. Jeremy began his career with Teach for America in Houston, where he was honored as Secondary Science Teacher of the Year by Houston ISD. He holds a BBA in Marketing from the University of Georgia and an MEd in Curriculum Instruction from the University of Houston. His professional journey has taken him from teaching science in U.S. public schools to serving as a Fulbright English teaching assistant in Brazil and now as an English language fellow in CIRA. In his presentation, Transforming Schools Through Family and Communities Partnerships, a collaborative approach in supporting English language learners, Jeremy will share how a U.S. public middle school successfully reimagined family and community engagement to improve outcomes for language learners. Before I introduce Mr. Tarbanton, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat and I will address to him at the end of the presentation. So everybody, let's extend a welcome and warm welcome to Mr. Tarbanton. Okay, Jeremy?
Thank you very much, Julio, for the introduction, and want to give a thanks to as well Colombo Americano for hosting this event. It's great to bring English language learners and educators together, and I'm honored to be here. Medellin, Colombia holds a special place in my heart. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but I'm excited to be sharing this with you. And without any further ado, we will get started. So today's presentation is transforming schools through family and community partnerships, a collaborative approach to supporting English language learners. Um, and we will continue on during this time. I know this is on YouTube currently, so your photo may be taken or this will be recorded. I always like to put this disclaimer up as well. So I want to start off with sharing a little bit about who I am. There's actually some pictures here of me teaching in Colombia with some students there at AFIT University when I used to work there. But I've been in education for 15 years, was a campus director. Currently, I'm an instructional coach for English language teachers across the state of Ceará in Northeast Brazil and Fortaleza, working with language schools and middle and high schools, elementary school teachers that teach English. But again, I have background in different subjects and disciplines as well. Math, science is where I started off. And this project for this presentation is my focus as the Title I 21st Century Coordinator, where I was in charge of parental and family and community engagement for a middle school in Houston, Texas. I've worked with students and teachers across US, Guatemala, Colombia, Ecuador, China, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Brazil. And I'm very honored to be back with the Paisas and others.
Jeremy? Okay, we are having some technical issues. Vero, oh, se paró la conferencia. Sí, él no está
July
hablando.
break and are starting off in second semester. And I just want to remind you all how teachers are important, families are important as well. And there's a great wealth of data that can be gleaned, that can be taken away from having interactions and relationships, not only with our students, but with the parents as well. So we're going to start off really quick. Bear with me. I will be switching tabs to share videos. So I'm going to switch over here right now, and we'll start off with a quick video clip. Here we go.
I have a lot of memories from when I was a child. One that's always stuck out to me, though, was when I was about 10 years old, and I was in school, and I struggled. And I didn't struggle with English, math, or science. I struggled holding still. And I would try to listen and focus and process ideas. And to be honest, I would sit there and students in the class would look at me and they'd say, "Hey, so bad that I got sent to the principal's office for tapping." And he said to me, "Okay, maybe when you go back to class, just try sitting on your hands." So I did. I went back to class. And
Es de... Sí, se para varias veces. Se detuvo de nuevo. Eso no es nuestro ya. Aquí está detenida la conferencia.
and an empty classroom. He walked past me and he sat next to his desk and he said, "Clint, come here. I want to talk to you." And as he looked me right in the eye, he said, "No, I need you to know something. You're not in trouble. But I do have just one question that I have to ask you." And he asked, he said, "Have you ever thought about playing the drums?" And in that moment, Mr. Jensen, he leaned back and he opened the top drawer of his desk. And he reached in and he pulled out my very first pair of drumsticks. And he held them in his hands and he looked at me and he said, "Hey, Clint, you're not a problem. I think you're a drummer." From from that moment on, I've never put those sticks down. I've toured, recorded, and played drums all over the world. My whole college education was paid for with drumsticks in my hand. Just because of a single moment in time when somebody believed in me and he saw something in me that I didn't even see within myself. And from that moment, I learned that there's a difference between being the best in the world and being the best for the world.
I'd love to start off with that because you might be wondering too, well, what does this have to do with English teaching? What does this have to do with our role as educators? But I think it highlights an excellent example, and I'll be pulling up the presentation here one second again. I think it highlights an excellent example in terms of many of Clint's teachers saw him as a problem and behavior issue with tapping. And this one teacher went far above and beyond and realized it was something else. And that one moment, that one chance that he was given changed the trajectory of his life. Like he said, it's different from being the best in the world, but the best for the world. And so what I think about when I think about all the different personalities in the seats in front of us, of our students, when I'm in front of a classroom, I wonder if Clint's teachers would have seen or had insight from his parents if they would have realized this wasn't a problem, but this was a gift. And so I just wanted to leave you with that, start you off with that for a quick introduction as we go into this theme, because parents and community and relatives have a huge amount of info that as educators we can get to better serve our students in the end. So also like to always start off, keep calm. This is a judgment zone, a judgment-free zone. Like to share that because I will be sharing a project taking place here in the US, but I realize there are different factors across countries. And so I like to always share from my experience, from my lens, but at the same time, like to always point out how hopefully there's bits and pieces that you can take and recreate or share with your networks in your educational communities. It might not be, you might not have the same resources or might not have the same space or environments in some of these things you learn about today. But also I feel like there's a lot of valuable information you can glean, and it's all about starting small, taking one thing, using that, and growing on it. So what exactly is a family-friendly school? Basically, exactly what it sounds like. Families feel that warmth when they arrive on your campus. They feel as if it's not a place to fear, but it's a friendly place to be. One thing that stands out to me, especially in Colombian culture, is the joy that the people have. And so definitely could see a lot of family-friendly type schools taking place there already, but there's a number of different tasks we can do to better serve our families. So here is survey data that was taken back from when I worked at a school in Houston Independent School District at Frank Black Middle School. And families took a survey related to parent and family involvement engagement. And these were some of the words that stood out that came across from their open-ended answers: respect, power, acceptance, commitment, trust. Some of the words that they felt signified a family-friendly school. I also think it's important to showcase how this is a theme taking place in Colombia. Always want to make learning applicable, and not only applicable, but relatable. And so I did do some investigation and found 2 research studies that were taking place in Colombia related to family and community engagement. And so one was called Families Driving Student Learning, the main theme. It was taken from the role of the family in the learning process of students, a study done quite recently in 2025. And the objective was how family involvement influences the student, from academic achievement, motivation, socio-emotional development, and did very different types of mythology to gain this insight from qualitative, quantitative data. Also analyzed barriers. What are some of the issues that hinder parental involvement, including potentially socioeconomic status or the education levels of parents themselves. And I thought it was quite interesting because in these findings, they found how active parental participation strongly correlated with better student performance, motivation, and self-esteem. Those are all three things we want for our students in our classroom. They also found how supportive family environments fostered other habits, like as in the home, study habits, emotional well-being, handling one's emotions. Um, and they found how families facing these different challenges from economic or educational disadvantages, they participated to well-being academic success. And they found how educational institutions, schools, universities, places of higher learning should design programs that invitation. So I just wanted to highlight this. This was relevant for those in Colombia joining us today. Additionally, there was another study called, it was a master thesis called Impact of Parental Involvement on the Academic Performance of 8th Grade Students in English as a Second Language at Laureano Gomez School. This is a school in San Agustin, Huila, Colombia. And it involved 92 families. They conducted surveys, interviews, analysis of students' academic performances, and they basically also checked in on how parental educational background and involvement affected outcomes. And similar to the other study, it all turned out that these were positive efforts when families had a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more participation and engagement in the life of the school. Active parental involvement correlated with stronger student engagement and improved English achievement. I thought it was great that this study focused on English language learning as well as a second language. They also saw how parents with lower educational attainment, they faced greater challenges because they might not have had that schooling experience themselves. But despite these challenges, families showed willingness. So based on our backgrounds and based on our upbringings and our own educational, it doesn't mean how parents aren't interested in being participants in their child's education. They actually showed willingness, and it highlighted potential for school-led initiatives. And so I think sometimes we have to take that mindset out of our head, how, I invite, I send a note home and I get, 10% response, or I get less than half of the parents joining. They just don't want to come. I think we got to take that mindset out sometimes as teachers. I know it's easy to fall into that, but there's a lot of other factors at play. And sometimes it's about putting that mindset on what we can do as educators to try to reach our parents in other ways, or as schools, or on our classroom level. And in conclusion, they found how schools, they need to design targeted strategies to engage parents, especially those who might have different education backgrounds, limited. Also supporting families in accessible, practical ways can improve those English language outcomes. And they're essential. If Colombia wants to reach specific English education goals, these school, family, community partnerships are important. So hope you enjoyed a little context from the Colombian end. Now I'm excited to welcome you to the final school I actually taught at full-time, Frank Platt Middle School in Houston, Texas. And I want to welcome you now, and you'll get a glimpse of what it's like to walk into the front office.
Welcome to Frank Platt Middle School.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Frank Black. How may we assist you today, sir?
So a few things you may have noticed as you walked in as a visitor. Also, even on the outside, you saw student achievement from athletic awards to art and fine arts awards. You saw some student posters. I believe these at that time were focused on anti-bullying campaigns and other events that students were putting on. You had a student welcome you. We had the privilege, luckily, to have some student helpers at our campus to work on 21st century skills and leadership. They were able to assist administrators or support staff on the campus during a period to assist with roles. And so an actual student welcomed you as you walked in. I know that's maybe not feasible everywhere, but it also sets the tone how we're a team, not only educators and administrators, but also we're a team with our students as well to reach our end goals. You'll see student artwork was posted, event signs were posted welcoming for parents to upcoming events so they were aware of them. Flyers were on the side where they could take from the school calendar, the monthly school calendar, to other forms that they might need. And the receptionist at that time was very customer service oriented. Shared, "Hey, welcome, how can I assist you? Sir, senor, or senora, senora in Brazil," or was very polite. And so this was a great first impression for our families and parents as they enter, to make them feel more comfortable. During this year, there were a few underlying barriers to parental involvement and engagement. And we had about 1,300 students, 1,300 students on our campus between the 6th and 8th grade. So this is middle school. You can think about that 12, 13, 14-year-old age, always a fun age to work with. And our breakdown was predominantly a Latino Hispanic school with 60%. We had white 24%, black 13%, Asian, and 2 or more races as well. It was an economically disadvantaged school. A lot of students received free reduced lunch. And we had several students with limited English proficiency. I remember I had a class of students who had recently immigrated to the US at this time, and their primary language was Spanish. They spoke Spanish when they went home. And as a science teacher at that time, it was my job to think of engaging ways to teach science in English, but that Spanish speakers, native Spanish speakers, could still learn the content in ways, lots of visuals, lots of cognate use, but a little bit of the demographics of the school at that time. And so we realized as a school team, our students had diverse school experiences. Some had recently come from Latin America and had attended schools there. Additionally, families had different school experiences as well. There were economic and time constraints, several families working several jobs. A lot of my students would go home, take care of siblings, handle the household chores, the cooking, as well as linguistic and cultural practices. I felt like it was a great experience to work at this campus because we celebrated the diverse cultures. However, these were some of the barriers as well. Sometimes I remember parents or teachers on our campus would send notes home that were only in English. And we realized how some of the parents couldn't read those. The AI and translating apps weren't available as then, or weren't as robust. And so we had to think about how could we kind of change our techniques in order to better serve the community that we were in. We also gave a Frank Black Middle School Your Voice survey, or it was the district survey that we gave to our parents. It was created by an independent research firm, and they were offered in English, Spanish, and actually Vietnamese. And you'll notice there's a pretty big gap. You might have heard of the Net Promoter data statistic, which is the likelihood of recommending. And if you have an 8, 9, or 10, this means that people basically are in the community sharing good things about you. It's on a grassroots level. However, you can see when you're under that 80% mark, there's some work to do. You can also see our response rate here was very poor in our opinion. We gave out 777 surveys and we received 58. The following year improved a little bit by 6%, but still a 13% response rate from the community we served was telling us that communication wasn't taking place. I did try to get additional information after we enacted this project. However, the district did not have any data for that year. I did submit a public information request. So I know these might seem a little outdated, but the information is still applicable, and we'll also share with you at the end how things have kind of been updated since then. So the ultimate challenge was, how can we as a Frank Black middle school community strive to forge enduring partnerships with all, not just some, but all of the families we serve? And what proactive actions can we take to promote stronger parental engagement and involvement on campus? Sometimes you hear parental involvement is more of what are we doing to families, more of doing, and family and parental engagement is more of what more are we doing with families. However, just for the sake of this presentation, really just trying to bring the community and the families into the life of the school. So our rationale, similar to the research shared across from Columbia, strong partnerships are closely linked to student academic success, and partnerships maintain and build public support for schools. In the US, oftentimes funding is based on attendance rate. Districts fund schools or on a federal or on a state level based on how many students you serve. And with that being said, there's a great resource called Beyond the Bake Sale. We use this as a guide. It's kind of a joke in the US context, how, hey, we only ask parents to help out when we need to raise some funds for a school dance. So we're gonna ask them to bake some goods and have a bake sale. But there's so much more you can do. This is a great resource. The Essential Guide to Family School Partnerships, and talks about how you can do so much more than just asking parents to bake goods that we do like, and I still do encourage bake sales, but there's a lot more to do. And the research shared here shares family community engagement leads to better academic results, fewer discipline issues, better attendance rate, and benefits the campus effectiveness and morale, not only of everyone that comes, but just teachers and administrators on campus as well. So just wanted to share a little bit of that information with you all too. So the project I designed as the 21st Century Title I coordinator. I was also at this time leading an 8th grade science classroom, and you know, any teacher, I was a coach, has a lot of different hats you wear. But I was excited because this department created a competition, not a competition, but also a certification where different schools, Houston School District at that time, in the nation, serving several communities across greater Houston. And they opened middle and high schools to complete different tasks through documentation efforts and showing the final results at the end. If you completed 5 of these tasks, you could become bronze level certified, kind of like the Olympics. If you completed 10 tasks, you could become silver, and if you completed 15, you could become gold. And so you can see what our goal was, to increase parental engagement and involvement. But additionally, I had the pressure from my principal at that time. Principal Casanoli was a great leader at our campus when he ran the school. And so I want to start off and show you the mission he set me out to do. And when your principal tells you this, there's really no other option than to go out and do it.
Mr. Tarbutton, go out and make us a family-friendly school.
So that's what I had to do. That led the charge and the direction of our work from then on. So we focused on 3 areas, and we were lucky because the roadmaps. This led our roadmap and guided the work we did. So at this time, you will see on the slides as we go through, we're going to go through each one of these buckets, and you will see the actual task that we completed with check marks to the left. So these were some of the options. There were more options as well, but you have to be feasible. Some of these we were already doing. Others we decided to add on to our docket. But I want to also let you hear a little bit from, you're going to hear from some other guest speakers at this time focused on these 3 areas, from students, another administrator, and a parent as well, to hear about the importance of building relationships, linking events to learning, and sharing and advocacy. So let's start off with hear from 2 of our students to hear a little bit about how they participated in building relationships.
Hi, I'm Celine Moya, an 8th grade student here at Frank Black Middle School, and I think that building relationships within the school community is important because it really puts us all in a line and just keeps us on a track together. And being a student, I feel like I have the most support by the parents, the staff, the community, and the students overall.
Hi, I'm Kaylin Torres. I'm 8th grader at Frank Black Middle School. One way I've been able to build a relationship with the kids at school is I've helped Mr. Tarbert and Celine has too with the adventure camp after school. We help the incoming 6th graders feel welcome for next year, and their parents too, so they have a good place like they can call home.
Thank you. Bye!
I love a little bit of that student energy as well. If you can believe it, they are adults now at this time, but they were some great student leaders on our middle school during the years I worked there. And so a couple of the activities we completed, you can see them here, but we invited prospective parents and relatives to walk through the campus. We gave surveys, we had staff workshops. So not only our support and administration staff had techniques and resources at their disposal, but also our teachers as well. We had a signing day to get the incoming 6th graders excited, and we also had special afternoon adventure camps for 4th and 5th graders. Since we were a 6th through 8th school, we wanted to build excitement, morale, and pride for coming to our school as well at this time. And so these were a few of the activities that we did. Here you can also see some of the pictures from staff trainings to parent workshops. We also reached out to the local community. We had a percentage night at McDonald's, for example, where our principal and other administrators were actually serving burgers and fries to the community and received a portion, 10% of the proceeds, but it was a way to bring those outside who maybe don't always visit the school to come together in places around the community. We had open house schedules. We'll talk a little bit more about the parent organizations and volunteers. We invited parents to come out and lead kind of events or activities. For instance, we had parents who helped cook meals that then donated to other causes in the community, some of the proceeds as well. And also we could support a family business. So a lot of different things going on. Always just want to show some of the actual highlights from those events as well. And so these are just 2 questions to think on if you're joining us today. How can you build trust and communication with the families of your students, especially those who may not feel comfortable engaging with the school? What can you do? Or Also, if you're planning on taking some of this learning back to your school sites or campuses, maybe you can think in professional learning communities about what challenges you've faced as a team, and how did you or how could you overcome those challenges in the future. So just some reflection. Feel free also to drop anything in the chat box, and I know Julio will share those with me at the end. The other bucket, the second bucket, was linking information specifically to learning, not just having an event or an activity for the sake of having something. So we're going to hear from Dean Pollard at this time, a colleague and friend, talk a little bit about what took place on our campus then.
Hi, my name is Therese Pollard. I am the Dean of Instruction here at Frank Black Middle School in Houston ISD. I just wanted to share a little bit of information with you all regarding all of the things that we do here on campus in an effort to link our parent and community events to learning. So regarding academics, we specifically have content nights, for example, ELA and social studies night, where we had so much fun and we had over 280 students and their families in attendance. It was a wonderful event for everyone. In addition, regarding college and career readiness, we have a career day where students go through different rotations and learn about several different careers that may interest them in the future. We also make sure that our students are educated, as well as the community, regarding their health. So for example, we gave free vision screenings and vaccines to not only our students, but their relatives, family members, and anyone in the area. We have, through all of our efforts, we have had an incredible response from not only our students, but their parents and the community as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Dean Pollard. And so just wanted to share, you can see the different activities here listed, from school calendar to monthly calendars, again, staff workshops, taking part in community events. I'll show you an art project our students took part in. Additionally, we had theme nights focused on different subject areas, from ELA and social studies teachers and grade levels came together and had student-led events that invited families out with food and drinks and with great celebrations. We had career day, as she mentioned, but also we thought of the school as a community school as well. Here in Brazil, I've seen sometimes the health system, the government having pop-ups for vaccines or other things in parks or different events. That's a great idea, having that at the school as well. So we offered immunizations and screenings for our parents as well, and community members. Here you can see some of the pictures from our career day, where we had an Olympian another easy one is showing appreciation, and easy thing to replicate is showing appreciation to your students, whether they have perfect attendance, where they've been nominated by teachers over the month and voted on as the star student, or if they've made honor roll. Bumper stickers for cars or stickers are great ways to honor them and to link to the learning that's taken place, and also to be a voice and a symbol out in the community as well. So just wanted to highlight a couple of those. And again, it wouldn't be a workshop if there wasn't time for reflection. So I want you to think about what types of school activities or events can you organize to involve families, engage families in their children's learning process on the teacher level, classroom level, or on the school level if you're a coordinator or administrator. And how do you communicate student progress and learning goals to parents? Do they only hear from you when the grades or the report cards come back? Or do they only hear from you when there's potentially a behavior or a classroom management issue? Parents would probably, and every parent I've known appreciates hearing positive feedback as well as getting updates in other ways and seeing what's happening across the school. So go ahead, think about that. Feel free to leave any comments in the chat box or thoughts. And our final bucket, as we about to wrap up here is advocacy and sharing power. And so want to hear from our current PTO president from that year to share a little bit about the importance of this strand as well.
Hello, my name is Keisha Carlson, and I'm the current PTO president at Frank Black Middle School. I have been involved with the PTO for the past 4 years. We reinstated it 4 years ago, and I've really seen how parent advocacy and sharing power has empowered our school and helped it grow. I have a daughter who is currently going to school here, another daughter who's gone all 3 years here, and another daughter who's coming next year. And I firmly stand behind Frank Black Middle School and want to watch it grow and encourage all parents to participate and do wonderful things for our school.
And it's great to hear a parent sharing. My one daughter went here, another one's going here, and another one's coming here. That automatically tells you right there how they're going to be a voice for you in the community. During this time was a great parent leader. We on our campus had a parent-teacher organization that led a bunch of events, not only fundraising for social type culture building things on our campus as well, but also participated in a number of different ways. They helped lead workshops. They joined us for workshops with our team. We also had a list of parent volunteers that we could reach out to, not just for bake sales, but also for field trips, or maybe we could use a specialist in some area to come speak on something in our classrooms when we were talking on about a certain subject. We also tried to reach out to our Latino Hispanic community. We had a Padres con Poder and Conexiones Culturales groups, and wanted to share a few pictures with you as well. Our parents had their own Facebook group that they kept everybody updated on. We had a Mexican folkloric dance class. We had a women's self-defense class where daughters and mothers could come together and learn basics of self-defense. A packed auditorium during our fine arts nights. But when you can get parents to not only just be guests, but they can go out and share what's going on and also create. It takes a lot of, as teachers and educators, there's never enough time to get everything done. And sometimes parents, they want that leadership and responsibility. So tapping into that is a great resource as well. So as a final reflection for the last bucket, how can you empower parents to advocate effectively for their child's education and engage actively in creating school-related decisions? We actually had a parent on the school decision making committee when we had things up for a vote. So incorporating them, not just in basic ways, but also in guiding the life and the trajectory of the school. What strategies can you implement to help parents from diverse backgrounds feel more included? And thinking about how they can also then just carry over to when they go back into our students go back to their home environments, how can we continue to influence their children's educational experiences? We also on our campus hired a part-time parent liaison to assist with efforts. Additionally, we offered English classes to our parents after school once a week. We had computer literacy classes for our parents after school once a week. So we also not only taught our students, but we taught our parents strategies, nutrition classes for ways they could better carry over learning in the home as well. So our results, I have to say, extremely proud. Over a 7-month period, we've not only completed 15 tasks, we completed 22. I like to say go big or go home. Out of 36 middle schools, we were one of 3 to receive this top honor. But one of the greatest pieces was we saw the academic growth. An outside organization, Children at Risk, rated us from a D- to a B- over that year. We did receive some recognition. I know the entire school team was pleased about that. And more importantly, we positively impacted our students, families, staff, and community. And the academic growth came naturally. We also had some amazing educators and other interventions on our campus, but I'm 100% positive that our family and community initiatives assisted across the board as well. So in conclusion, as our principal, Paulo Castanoli, shared, here at Frank Black, we consider parents to be our partners in ensuring that their child is excelling socially, emotionally, and academically. So just wanted to share a little bit of the project that took place. There have been some updates since then with the district. You notice how always there's a new edition of a book or a new formula, but basically it still hits the same areas. It looks like number 3, advocacy and sharing power, split up into supporting parent advocacy, honoring families, and this facilitation of parent-led events. And now they have additional levels where you can get to platinum and diamond level as well. And it's great to see how the school, when I started this charge and our team helped out, has still continued to be family friendly certified since then. You can see here, and if you go to the Family and Community Engagement website for HISD, the Houston Independent School District, you can get more information related to different activities for each level and how they rate schools and different activities that you could potentially recreate. Also wanted to lastly highlight how TESOL International has a great family and community toolkit as a PDF version. If you Google it, you can find resources ready to go. They are in English. However, with technology now, you could easily translate them to other languages as well if applicable. Also, the Georgia Department of Education, my sister worked for the state school superintendent for a number of years, and one of her projects was on family-friendly partnerships as well. And so while this is outdated, I did link this in the resources. There's actual virtual, it's still applicable. You can download on a Windows only, unfortunately, not a Mac, a program from their website where you can actually enter a middle school and an elementary school and see different factors in like a virtual tour. You sometimes might need a VPN as well to download that. So did link that information at the end of the resources as well. So just want to leave you, how far will the echoes of our teaching today shape the learning of our students and ripple through the families and communities tomorrow? Also would love to, so thinking about, how can us as educators continually support those, and especially for English language learners. It's a no-brainer for me to bring in outside help and to also show respect to our families and communities in ways as well. So love to give off some acknowledgments from my experience during this time. Always try to come from a personal lens. Have other resources here with links listed for you. So I'll be sure to share this PowerPoint with Colombo to get out to attendees if anybody has any questions. And we'll just end here on this slide with my contact info. Feel free to reach out. I love to post a lot of information on Instagram related to English language learning, and would love to take any questions at this time.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Tambarton, for sharing this wonderful experience with us in this section. Actually, we have like 2 questions, so I'm going to read one of them. How can schools and teachers measure the effectiveness of family-friendly policies beyond student performance indicators?
Can you repeat that last part again?
Okay, so how can school and teachers measure the effectiveness of family-friendly policies beyond student performance indicators?
No, excellent. I think that's a wonderful question. As educators, we're here, yes, student performance and achievement. We want our students to grow academically, but we teach our students life skills, workforce development skills, 21st century skills, critical thinking, communication, creativity, collaboration, things that are important in the workplace. And so I think some of those are ways to measure are through qualitative data in terms of our own observations and feedback and seeing students grow in those ways. However, I think this would be a great question for teams, administrator teams, and teacher teams to come together and think about how they could measure those. And I think one way would be coming up with indicators that are beyond the academic level, beyond the academic achievement. So in terms of, I'm all about data, using data to drive instruction, but also data to drive project management, especially when it comes to family and community engagement. And so thinking about planning backwards from the beginning in terms of, we would like to see our students grow potentially in these other 3 areas. I know attendance is an easy one to measure based on attendance records, but if you're trying to measure, core values, I know in my classroom at that time, responsibility, respect, independence, these types of things were also some core values in my classrooms, and potentially teachers could evaluate students in ways. And I think it's also great to give students the opportunity to self-assess as well. Sometimes we leave students, the ones we're teaching every day, out of the process. So letting them be, beginning and after, a before and after type of measurement as well. So thank you for that question.
Okay, and I have the last one is what what was the most difficult challenge that you find from educator side and family side in order to establish this partnership between family and school?
Great question. And I think it comes back to mindset sometimes. And I think it comes back into, we are products of our own experiences. So sometimes we have to put ourselves in other situations to gain greater understanding of cultures, challenges others face. And not saying to not take our experiences with us, but I think one sometimes I remember sometimes when I was trying to get buy-in from the teachers across the board, and knowing that they're working hard and have limited time. And I know sometimes students related to teachers in different ways. So sometimes there might have been some issues with one student for one teacher in a class that had reached out to a parent, but then across the department or across the grade levels, there were varied experiences. And so I think it comes back to thinking as teachers, our mindsets control our actions. And so instead of saying it's the parent's fault, or it's the parent's lack of interest or lack of engagement, what can we do above and beyond if the basic didn't work? And also, how can we show some empathy in the process as well?
Oh, great, great. So once again, Mr. Tarbatum, thank you for sharing this wonderful experience with us. And I want to thank all those who were participating in our session. This is the end, okay? But I really appreciate your participation, your questions, and thank you for your insights, Jeremy, if I can call you Jeremy, okay?
Yeah, of course, of course. And thank you so much again for moderating, and wishing all those joined us today, as well as in Colombia. I look forward to hopefully hearing more about the efforts that you take back to your schools across Colombia and beyond, especially related to family and community engagement. So thank you for letting me join you today. Have a great rest of your time with the conference.
Bye bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye bye.